This episode is brought to you by Google. Innovation is deeply ingrained in America, and Google is helping Americans innovate in ways both big and small. There are hundreds of thousands of skilled trades roles across the U.S. waiting to be filled. To help close this gap, Google is expanding its skilled trade support to help train more than 300,000 American workers across more than 20 states. This is a new era of American innovation. Learn more at grow.google/skilled trades.
This summer, say I do.
I am marrying a stranger.
Like never before.
Am I crazy?
It's a whole new Married at First Sight on Peacock.
Thank God I woke up in love.
With new experts.
My name is Dr. Lisa.
My name is Paul Brunson.
More couples.
This could be the start of a very successful marriage.
And more surprises.
Or maybe not. Everything is just not enough.
You're a little bit crazy.
I don't know what's gonna happen. I want my fairy tale ending.
Married at First Sight, now streaming. New episodes Thursdays, only on Peacock.
This summer, serve up the cookout classics, Kraft mayo and dressing. Toss green salads with delicious ranch dressing or zesty Italian. Serve smooth, craveably creamy potato salads with mayo. We all know it's not a cookout without Kraft.
Traveled around, preaching and teaching the gospel. We settled down in a shitty town, a broken home and a Bible. I've been everywhere since then. I saw what really mattered. When I look back on all that pain, it brings me laughter. I'm in love with the sweet, sweet, sweet sunshine. Ain't a fool, and it's time for me to take what's mine. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh. It's time.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back. It's Jay Scott. It is The Hook Rocks, the ultimate rock community podcast. Thanks again for tuning in. Always appreciate the time you spend with us and listening to us. Don't forget to write us a review when you're done listening. We do appreciate it. It's very important to the podcast, to all podcasts. So please let us know what your feedback is and let us know what you think. We are part of the Pantheon Podcast Network, as I always mention, the official podcast platform for Metallica and a whole bunch of other music related podcasts. There's something for everybody, whether it's vinyl, whether it's Kiss, whether talking about album reviews, classic album reviews. It's all there. It's all available. Check out Pantheon Podcasts at pantheonpodcast.com, as well as on social media, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook at Pantheon Pods. And you can do the same with The Hook Rocks on all three of those platforms. Just search up The Hook Rocks. And yeah, don't forget to set your app to automatic download so you get the latest episodes right to your phone and able to enjoy all the old previous episodes. We've had some awesome stuff going on here recently. I'm getting back in the swing of things after taking the summer off, and the content is being created. The content is being uploaded, and the content is being listened to by you. We just welcomed Carl Spackler from La Chinga, talking their new album, Primal Forces. We talked with Tracy Guns for our Eddie Van Halen celebration episode. That was absolutely wonderful. One of the best episodes, in my opinion, we've ever recorded. Tracy shared his thoughts on Eddie, his influence, and their friendship. that he had with him. It was absolutely amazing. We reviewed the top albums of the quarter for quarter 3. You always want to check out that episode because that tells you what you need to be listening to in the world of rock music. So yes, just all a bunch of great bands and artists that we talk about. And that's really the goal of that episode, is to really spotlight those bands that don't get the attention they deserve, which is the new rock bands. And we're not Spin Magazine. We're not Rolling Stone. We're not music elitists and snobs where only Bruce Springsteen albums are talked about. We like to talk about a lot of stuff that you may not hear of. So please check that out. We had Aaron Jones talking his number 1 single, Blood in the Water, as well as his album, Chronicles of the Kid. Also welcome Brett Evans from Glorious Sons, Labros G from 1000 Mods, up-and-coming rock star, badass bassist, Rachel Bello. And we celebrated our 500th episode with Dax Nielsen from Cheap Trick and a 4-year anniversary with Nita Strauss, as well as a whole slew of other episodes this year. I'm at the point now with this whole podcast where I'm forgetting who I've had on the show. So, when you do 500 some plus episodes, when you start scrolling back and looking at the guests that you had, I'm like, oh, I had them on. I forgot about that. So that's kind of the point. I'm kind of becoming this old codger in the podcast world. But we've got our Music Insider episode for you to enjoy today. And it's always our goal is to keep you informed with what's going on the business side of music. There's lots to talk about, namely with Live Nation and Ticketmaster, as well as Bandcamp and the selling of Bandcamp, as well as some other things hopefully we get to with AI, ChatGPT, maybe get into some TikTok and some streaming service if we have time. If not, we'll be catching you up on that sooner or later on what's going on. But as always, one of my favorite guests, I've been having her on since I first started. So please welcome the return of Kristi Enigl. What's happening, Kristi? How are you?
Hey, Jay. Hey, hi there. And thanks for having me back. I really appreciate it. And I was thinking, wow, it's been, 5 years, did you say? 4 years? 5 years?
4-year anniversary. I got 520 episodes now.
Congratulations. That is awesome.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. And I tell you, I got a lot to catch up on. You've got some great episodes going there. Aaron Jones, I want to hear. Oh my God. Geez, you're just kicking ass. Congratulations.
Thank you. It's
awesome.
amazing. I took the summer off mostly because my son was going away to school this fall, and just wanted to, spend as much time with him before he went. Being a single dad, I kind of really wrapped my life around him and, raising him. And now that he's gone, I've got a lot of free time on my hands. So maybe I'll finally start that Patreon page I've been talking about doing for 3 years, but now I can have the time. But yeah, it's good to be back here. The month of September, we did 12 episodes.
Wow.
We're probably going to do close to 16 in October and here on out. So we're pumping the gas.
Wow.
And we're putting the pedal to the metal, no pun intended, and talking about it. So.
Wow. That's awesome.
So yeah,
it's very impressive.
I'm really happy with the guests we've had too. I mean, obviously, I'm always happy with all the guests, but to really set up kind of what we did in September and now in October, and there's more coming down the road too. There's hopefully some exciting stuff happening by the end of the year. It's just great. I've always wanted to have Aaron Jones on. I was finally able to do that. Tracy Guns, I've been trying to get on the show for 3 years.
Yay. That's awesome.
Do that. And the discussion I had with him too, which is about Eddie Van Halen. And, the things he shared in that conversation was just mind blowing. I mean, it was very light, but it was also heavy at the same time. It's always, as an Eddie Van Halen fan, whenever we talk about him and I learn things about him, it's hard not to get emotional because what he meant to my life growing up and who he was. And Tracy was just absolutely incredible in that conversation.
Yeah, everybody go listen to that. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Love Tracy, love Eddie.
And then, also too, don't forget we did Wendy Dio talking about the documentary Dreamers Never Die, which if you haven't seen, anyone listening, go see that documentary. That's one of the best rock documentaries I've ever seen. Absolutely incredible. And talking Jimmy Page with my favorite luthier, Mike Longacre, out in Hermosa Beach. So yeah, some good stuff, some good content. Glad to be back in full swing. Glad to have you back.
Oh, thanks.
Like talking about
updates.
About music business with you and where to
Okay, let's go.
There's always stuff to talk about.
God,
There's
no
always
kidding.
stuff to talk about. There's never a shortage of greed, and there's never a shortage of people jacking around the artists. And let's just get into it with Ticketmaster and Live Nation. As many of you know, and in case you don't know, they are becoming the heroes after doing what they never should have done in the first place, which is take a percentage of the merchandise sales from these bands at these clubs and venues. Now, mind you, these are bands that are not mainstream. These are young, up-and-coming bands doing the grind and not making a lot of money like they used to. And here comes Live Nation, the big, huge corporate conglomerate, saying, you owe us some of that money to pay for all this. They stopped it. Now they're going to give a $1,500 stipend, I should say, for all these bands. And now people are saying, oh, that's so great that they're doing that. But here's the thing, people. They never should have fucking did it in the first place. It was bullshit that they did that.
Yeah.
And between the fees that they charge people and the upcharge in tickets on the primary and secondary markets, and then also to take it on the other end from bands that are trying to frickin' fill their tank up of their touring van with gas and trying to find places to shower and eat. Now all of a sudden they want a medal for being what they are. And from what I'm reading more and more about this, it's not what it actually seems.
Yeah. There's 2 points I have on this. So the first point is there's been a backlash, and the backlash is coming from the National Independent Venue Association, NIVA, and they are unhappy because it squeezes out 3,000 and under seat venues. So they're saying that they can't compete now and they can't give their performing artists a stipend. So a lot of artists won't be playing at their venues. And of course, they don't want to sell out to Ticketmaster because they're independent venues. So they've written a letter. There's some protests going on. There's dialogue. I think a lot of musicians are jumping out to support them. So will be interesting to see which way that goes. I mean, they're being hailed on one hand, and the other hand, it's like it is kind of a backhanded move. A lot of people feel. Secondly, one of the things that's happened over the past 2 years is that corporate sponsorship by banks of live music venues has increased from 25% to 39%. So, in addition to getting the fees and the upsales and all the money that Ticketmaster is making for their parent company, Live Nation, that integrated business, now they have corporate bank sponsorship, specifically banking, have decided, because they often sponsor sports, that live music is the next little market for them to move in. And so if you can imagine now, and so on top of all the other fees and all the money that they're making, now they're having specifically banking corporate sponsors for live music events. So that's happening, and that's really increased. And you're going to see it increase even more in the next few years. Ticketmaster. Live Nation.
Yeah. Well, I mean, again, it's never what it seems, right?
Right.
I mean, the end goal is here to more or less eliminate these small private venues from having shows so they can control the market more.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So if they demand, the venues give a $1,500 stipend to these artists, well, that sounds great, right? But it's for the clubs that only have a 200 capacity venue or a 300 capacity venue or 150 capacity venue. These things are going to happen, right? They're going to stop having these bands play because they can't afford it. They're going to stop aligning themselves with Live Nation, which is probably the smartest thing to do. But if Live Nation gets these younger acts and these emerging acts to sign exclusives, they can't play there anyway. So guess what's going to happen? It's going to squeeze out the artist, the original, the artist doing the grind that does original music. They're going to have less and less places to play. And all these smaller venues are more or less going to become cover band venues, right? Because that's the only thing that they're going to be able to bring in that puts people in the door to sell liquor and all that kind of stuff. So, as we always know, never trust big corporations because what they seem like on the surface of like, wow, they're really going to step up and do all this stuff and do all these things. It's never what it seems, right? There's always an alternative.
I mean, and that's Neva's or their point, right? They're like, it looks great on the surface and it looks all great, but what it's really going to do is squeeze out the small independent owner and operators. So they're going to struggle even more.
Which trickles down to the small independent original music artist.
Right. Exactly. Right? Exactly. So that's not much going on with the any kind of legislation with Ticketmaster. They can just drag that out forever. So nothing's going on with that at the moment.
Yeah.
But there was another big move this year. This last week, there was Bandcamp was sold again after 18 months of being sold, and now it's in the hands of SongTrader. Which
how do you feel about
that? SongTrader's there to make a lot of money. That's what they want to do, and I guess they see an economic model that's working. Now, if they're going to go in and meddle with them, I mean, you can go out right now and read like 27 different opinions of how this is going to go. I read a lot of it, and what I'm going to do is just kind of wait and see what they do first. I don't know. I mean, it isn't one corporation buying another corporation. I'm not sure if SongTrader, although they say on their website, of course, that they're artist focused and, innovative, new future, data, meta, the whole 9 yards. But we'll see.
Yeah, seeing your artist focus is like when someone tells you, I'm not going to lie to you, and then they proceed to lie to you. We're artist focused, which means that they're not artist focused.
They had to say it, right?
Yeah.
Exactly. I mean, there's a lot of people that don't think this is a great move. I don't know what to think. What do you think?
It's such a complicated situation, right?
Yeah.
In that, if you really keep peeling back the orange and keep, driving yourself further away and getting more of a larger picture perspective, I'm going to start with this. We've been hearing for decades that these music sites, record companies are not making any money. We've heard Spotify say that they don't make any money, which anyone that believes that, please DM me because I've got oceanfront property in North Dakota to sell you. Oceanfront property in North Dakota to sell you. Corporations always claim that they don't make any money. Getting back to my point, though, they've been claiming for decades that they're losing money, making money, yet they keep buying things like Bandcamp, or Live Nation keeps raising their fees. And when you get the revenue reports at the end of the year, the revenue analysis, the company analysis, the percentage that they're up. And here's the thing you always need to remember. Anytime greedy fuckers tell you that they're not making any money. One thing, because my background's in real estate, one thing I know about people that have a lot of money is they don't like to waste money. They're very particular on every dollar and every cent that they spend. And a lot of these corporations have a board, right? They have a board of investors that approve things and do things. Now, if a company is hemorrhaging and losing money, they're not going to approve it, or most cases, they're not going to keep acquiring other things. They're not going to keep making these decisions if there's not an opportunity to increase revenue. So this whole idea that Spotify or Live Nation or all these companies, oh, we're not making any money, then why are you still in the game?
Yeah.
Okay, always ask yourself that. We also hear that rock music and these young bands, nobody wants to listen to, right? Nobody wants to listen to these young bands. Nobody cares about the new wave of rock. It's not mainstream. That's a whole different conversation. But why do they care about these small venues that attract a lot of these young up and coming artists, these independent artists? Like, why are you doing that? Right? If no one cares about these artists, no one cares about these small venue artists, or there's a very small niche of people that do, why are you trying to squeeze them out? So read the tea leaves, read what's, happening. Don't listen to the words they say, listen to the actions they do, right? If they're not making any money, why do they keep doing these things? If they don't believe that this genre of music is generating any interest, why are they doing anything, all these things? And these are a lot of questions that we need answers to. But the answer always is they're lying. Okay? They're lying. So if you keep going out, pulling yourself out of, like, when you read an article and you see the words, say, all right, let's go back. Let's keep going back. Let's get a broader view of what they're doing. Everything in that article, as you get closer and closer to it, after you get that broad spectrum of what's happening, is bullshit. Streaming services make money. Streaming services would not be in business if they didn't make money. Amazon would invest in something that doesn't make money. Apple would not invest in something that doesn't make money. Okay?
Exactly. Well, I have an interesting statistic right here that 75% of music let me say this right. 75% of music streaming consumption is catalog. That means most people are utilizing streaming services to find music and artists they already know and love. Yes, there's a moderate amount of discovery that happens through the streaming services, but people do not innately log in looking for the new thing according to the numbers.
Well, we talked about that with the algorithm. The algorithm that bottles that discovery.
Right. And in that case, the one thing that Bandcamp is doing different from all the other streaming services is that I would say that 75% of their subscribers and followers are actually logging in to discover new music. Right. So it's going totally against the grain of what is happening right now, and which makes it very different from Spotify and all of that stuff. Cause you're logging on, you're listening to Bon Jovi or whatever, or your Doja Cat, you're going to listen to whatever it is you're listening to. You're not logging on to those. And yeah, we've discussed it endlessly, but Bandcamp, if you log on to Bandcamp, nine times out of 10, you're going to click on a few things that just because you like the album cover or the artwork or the people in the band. And so it's a totally different platform. So in that light, it is interesting to see why Songtrader would buy it. Songtrader deals in data and, selling music to a lot of businesses and seamlessly. So, what do they see in that? It's a completely different platform from everything else.
Yeah. I mean, Bandcamp is essentially the front line of independent artists and younger bands that are trying to get their music out. I mean, it's much different model than a streaming service, right? You have the ability to stream, you have the ability to purchase.
Mm-hmm.
Really,
merch.
Right. It's really been pro independent artists, pro young artists for the most part. So why does Songtrader want to come in and buy that? If it truly isn't making money as everyone claims, or there has to be a model that they're looking at because they always look through the eye of the revenue, right? The revenue.
Yeah.
And if they think they can make money on it, that's why they're buying it. They're not going to buy a company that is not successful. And,
Exactly.
So again, keep going back and further back and get that broader observation of what's happening, because we're told one thing when we read these articles, these words that say rock music doesn't make any money, rock music doesn't do this, new rock is irrelevant. Okay, so why are all these things happening?
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
So,
I don't know if they're buying it for the tech, because they're selling, data packets, and, they hire full stack engineers and what have you. So I'm very interested to see which direction that goes. I mean, if it goes anything like you've heard on any commercial lately, just about every 80s band in the world has sold their catalog for commercial use. So we're curious to see where it goes with Song Trader.
Again, another prime example. If rock music isn't making any money, why are all these companies ponying up all these millions of dollars to buy these bands' catalog? Right.
Yeah.
The next thing that's going to be interesting, and we're not there yet, but that's coming, is that vacuum that we've been talking about with live rock acts, where that older generation of bands are starting to retire. We see Aerosmith on their farewell tour. Aerosmith might be able to tour again with Steven Tyler's vocal issues right now. So they might be done completely. We don't know yet.
Yeah.
But, and AC/DC hasn't toured. They're supposed to announce something. We'll see. But the point is that all these bands, Metallica, Maiden, AC/DC, Aerosmith, whomever, they're not going to be here in the next half dozen years. Okay. 6-7 years, they're not going to be here. The only major band that will be touring, major rock band, well, maybe a couple, but Foo Fighters.
Yeah, and Pearl Jam. But they're getting older too, man.
They're getting older.
Pearl Jam's my age, and I just hit 60. Right. Eddie's a little younger. Mike McCready's my age or a little bit older. I mean, Foo Fighters are a few, they're about the same. Dave Grohl's a little bit younger, but they're all, and then everybody else is just, aging out. It's hard to tour after a certain age,
Yeah, and there are management companies now. There's management companies now that are bringing back these bands that maybe had one or two radio hits back in the 90s and the early part of the decade, and trying to make them an arena act. We saw, Hinder headline a tour over the summer, and Hinder, I think, just had that one song, right?
Maybe.
And the point is that there's this vacuum going to be created where there's not going to be any major rock bands touring anymore. And
they'll step in with AI. They'll step in with AI music.
I still don't think, as much as we talk about AI and ChatGPT benefiting, there are a lot of benefits to it. There are. And if you think that there's not, then you're completely clueless. There are definite benefits. However, when it comes to generating an image of a band that you love and seeing the image of them up on stage, and knowing that it's not really them, it's some computer generated thing, I still don't think that the audience is going to buy into that. I just don't think so. I mean, if you truly love live music, you're basically watching music that's not live. It's not going to be live.
I know.
So I just don't think, it may work in pop music. It may work in hip hop and rap, but I don't think it's going to work in country. And I don't think it's going to work in rock music and metal too as well.
Let's hope not.
Rock bands crave that authenticity. So does country fans for the most part.
I know. We just have to hope that the young people get out there and embrace it, because if they don't, then, what happens is it gets replaced with what's easy and what's out there and what's charting on Spotify. And, God forbid that there's an AI rock band. Oh, I can't even imagine that.
Yeah, I will never, ever spend a dime on that.
Yeah, that's not going to happen.
Never.
Not going to happen. So the latest in the AI is that I will tell you, they still haven't clarified it because that's going to take some time. But it's still, so they're fine tuning it a little bit. Like if an AI can hold a copyright, right? Or if a human has to be involved, and now what they're saying, it's a question of degree. Under traditional principles, the more human involvement and the more AI is used as a tool, not as the creator, the stronger the case for copyright protection. A song created with the prompt, quote unquote, create a song that sounds like The Weeknd will not suffice. So they fine tune how you're asking it, your prompt, so if it's just something really general like that, you may not be able to hold a copyright on it. So you have to have more human involvement in the song.
But what is it? They haven't.
Does that clarify it?
They haven't defined that yet, though, right?
Well, it's, I guess, asking a more in-depth prompt, I guess, create a song that sounds like The Weeknd in the key of D minor, drop D, 3/4, weird timing, like Soundgarden with, what would you have to ask it to have more creative, more human involvement?
Well, yeah, that's my whole point, though. Like the human involvement, how will the industry define human involvement? Is it someone hitting the power button on the computer?
No.
What does that mean?
It has to be more in depth than that. It has to be more in depth than create a song that sounds like. So you can't use that. They're saying that's not enough human involvement for you to pull a copyright on it.
Okay.
So you have to go into, so when you ask a prompt, see now it tells you what, it doesn't tell you what it involves, right? So what is a more human involvement prompt, right?
Yeah.
So that's not clear. So I guess hopefully that's all going to get cleared out. It may go, who knows where it's going to go. It's going to go to the courts. I wouldn't imagine it goes all the way up to the Supreme Court, but who knows? We'll find out.
What?
But, scary times.
And how will that stuff get paid out? Like, will it be out to the creator, to the developer? I where does that go?
So.
Is there going to be contracts? I'm spending way too much caring about what artificial the business side of it, and it makes me so upset that I'm even saying these words right now. But how will that get paid out? Like, does the record company or whomever pay the developer a salary, and it's your job to create music that's AI generated, and we just give you $200,000 a year?
Right. So it's a work for hire, basically. Yeah, I guess so. And then do you give credit? Then you give. So if you have if you don't have a detailed prompt and the AI writes the song, you still can't copyright it. So they're still not the mechanical rights holder. So they'll have to be paid to a human songwriter, and then obviously the publisher, and then the record company and the distributor, etc. But, I guess it's all going to hinge on, human involvement, how they define human involvement. It's using AI as more than a tool. You can't use it as a tool to create. It actually, I guess, has to spontaneously create. I don't know how that would work.
Just think about how the generations that are just starting now.
No, I don't want to.
So used to this, and that's the aggravating thing. Like, our generation knows what it's like before.
Yeah.
Right? Like we grew up in an analog world, and then when we were young adults, we went into the digital world. So we kind of experienced both, and we appreciate making music. We appreciate making art, and because we know how difficult it is, and we know the amount of time you need to spend on something. And now generations are never going to know that, right? They're never going to understand that, because everything is going to be computer generated and artificially generated. And that's such man, does that just make for a very shallow world and a shallow population of people that think that they're listening to something that's good, but it is not art. Art will be gone and there'll be no authenticity. Like there won't be anything.
No.
I mean, I guess you'll always have that. There'll always be that 20% of the population that wants that authentic, real thing. And I guess that'll never go away. But just the fact that it's even existing and pulling people into it, it's just, man, it's heartbreaking.
It's the world that we're right at the beginning of it. We're as it emerges and they figure things out. There's no guidelines. Remember, they wrote the big letter and collectively everybody went, whatever. So the genie's out of the bottle. Who knows how it's going to go? But what this AI fits in with the culture that we have today is of instant gratification. If you want to write a rock song, you want to, get together, go to somebody's garage or find a rehearsal space and find, 4 or 5 people that you can create with, and then have a spark of imagination and write songs and record them, right? They don't have to go through any of that. Because that takes way too long. They can just instantly, hey, write me a song in the key of blah, 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 and have it written for them instantaneously. That's the part that kills me. It's like, it's, having everything at your fingertips is what I don't like.
Well, having it be so easy, right?
Yeah.
This episode is brought to you by State Farm. Listening to this podcast instead of doom scrolling? Smart move. Another smart move? Getting help from one of State Farm's 19,000 local agents when you choose to bundle home and auto. Bundling, just another way to save with the Personal Price Plan. Prices are based on rating plans that vary by state. Coverage options are selected by the customer. Availability, amount of discounts and savings, and eligibility vary by state.
Tomorrow morning is knocking. Stock your fridge now. How about a creamy mocha frappuccino drink? Or a sweet vanilla? Smooth caramel maybe? Or a white chocolate mocha? Whichever you choose, delicious coffee awaits. Find Starbucks Frappuccino drinks wherever you buy your groceries.
Hi, Ryan Reynolds here for Mint Mobile. Are you looking for a beach read this summer? May I suggest your big wireless bill? It's got suspense, mystery, a slightly flat, emotional arc, and a shocking twist where you realize you've been overpaying the entire time. Fortunately, though, Mint's story is better. Every plan, $15 a month, even unlimited. That's it. Happy ending, 0 tears.
Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3 months, $90 for 6 months, or $180 for 12-month plan required. $15 per month equivalent. Taxes and fees extra. Initial plan term only. Greater than 50 gigabytes may slow when network is busy. See terms.
Like there's no authenticity. There's no growth. It's like it's nothing. It means nothing. There's no emotion in it,
it's a prompt.
Yeah.
Which sounds cold and clinical, right? Oh, it's just a prompt. Or if you write a song with AI and you copyright it, right? And it's a hit and you're like, I don't know, Machine Gun Kelly or something like that. It's going to have fans. It's going to have people that like it. It's going to have people that go to see it. It's going to have, and then bands have been using backing tracks. So there's a whole generation of kids that aren't even going to blink an eye at that. So, I can see the beginning of the transition here and now and where it's going to go. What I think is cool though, is I think there's always going to be rock and roll. And what I love to see is all kinds of domains and, handles popping up with like totally human, 100% human, not a robot, not AI. And I'm like, okay, cool. So there's going to be, I think, millions and millions of people out there that feel the same way that we do.
That's all we can do. It's all we can hope is that there is that pushback and there is some integrity for the next generation and the generation after that knows authenticity, that knows what art is, because that expression has to come from somewhere, right? And kids will always want to express themselves. And it's like anything, you have kids that are learning how to play guitar, drums, learning how to sing. They play a sport. They're learning how to hit a baseball. They're learning how to tackle. They're learning how to play hockey. and all that, and they're failing at it, and they're getting back up and doing it again. They're getting back up and doing it again. Those are the kids that are going to stay authentic because they're willing to put in that work. They're willing to put in the time after failure, after failure, after failure. It's the kids that, you know, are the lazy ones who really don't understand what hard work, the entitled kids are the ones that are going to sit there with their MacBook and create this song. And I hope there is a pushback because, as we all know throughout history, whenever something expands, eventually there's a contraction, right? You know, you think of an explosion, right? You think of the whatever you call it, the impact of the explosion goes out and then it comes back in. Right?
Exactly.
So at some point there has to be a retraction of what's happening and what's going on because
code can never really replace humans, no matter how authentic they try and get it. You know, because the expression of art and music is as old as our humanity. You know, since the beginning, our species has created music and art. And I'm really hoping that technology in the form of code doesn't just eradicate that. I think that people always need to commune and have music and a live experience. And I hope that is something that sustains to whatever's coming up, you know. Fingers crossed.
Think about how we live and what we listen to. Let's just use my favorite band of all time, Led Zeppelin, right?
Yeah.
Zeppelin started in 1969.
Yeah.
Didn't make an album, didn't make any new music after 1979. They're around for 10 years. Yet they're more popular today than they were when they were around. And they were popular. The Beatles' popularity has grown, if you can believe it. The Stones' popularity has grown, right? AC/DC, even though they're still around, still playing, they've been around this long because of their music, because people have enjoyed their music. We talked about Eddie Van Halen at the beginning and his impact.
Yeah.
They were all real. They were all authentic. And their music has stood the test of time. When you listen to that stuff, are we going to be like, well, that stuff doesn't exist anymore? It's not AI generated, or I don't listen to anything that's not AI generated? Because there's a reason why that music is still present in our lives today.
Oh, yeah.
Because of the expression, because of the emotion, because of what they did. And I can't connect with something that I know was a digital program. I just can't.
Yeah.
Because there's no human element.
No. And I hope that, you know, if not wholesale, we reject it, but I hope that rock fans are the type of fans that go, well, okay, help writing songs and all that. Okay. That can serve a purpose, but we still want loud rock and roll. You know, we still want people playing music, writing their own songs and coming out and playing them. You know, I hope that desire never goes away. You know, I mean, and it's like we pointed out, there's some hurdles to that, you know, even getting out to see a live concert these days. You know, if you've got 2 kids you want to take to a concert, oh my God, you're going to be set back, you know, some G spots there. So it's going to hurt. Hopefully they don't make it too impossible in the future and it just becomes a luxury item for the ultra rich, you know, fingers crossed.
Well, that's the way it's heading. I mean, look at sports, right?
Yeah. Banking sponsorship of live events scares me for that reason, because, you know, once the banking companies get in, you know, you can't get a ticket to the US Open. You know, you can't get a ticket to an NBA playoff. You can't get those tickets.
Yeah. I remember being a kid going to the Cubs games, and it was my mom and dad and my brother and I. It was 4, you know, and tickets were like $15, $20, you know, so you could go and spend $100, $150 on a full day at the ballpark with a family of 4. And now like the way that the ticket industry is and the way Ticketmaster jacks up the prices, the primary market, the secondary market, it's so expensive. And then you factor in what it costs to eat and what it costs to have a drink at a game. I mean, I was at Wrigley last summer for the stadium tour, and I was with my son, and we got 2 hot dogs. I didn't even buy any alcohol. I just bought 2 bottles of water, hot dogs, and it was $30.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. I mean, once corporate banks come in and start sponsoring concerts, a lot of those tickets are going to go to their, like Amex Black cards and the Amex Circle cards and the pre-sale and the Citibank pre-club. And so a lot of those tickets are going to come right off the top. Then there's going to be the ones for the VIPs for the bank, the bank CEOs and what have you. And they're going to take the VIP suites and they're going to take, so it's not just that they're writing a check and sponsoring it, they're getting into it because it comes with a lot of perks, So, which I think will have a direct impact on prices, on ticket prices going forward. And the ability to get them.
This interesting question just popped in my head. To measure the audience of AI generated music. Will we be able to correlate the cover band crowd, right? The band that goes sees other people play music that's not theirs in these bars and clubs or at these festivals, these rib fests all over. Will those be the people that will be accepting of AI generated music?
Possibly.
Because that's really you're watching people play other people's music that they did not write. Possibly. And you're spending money and you're cheering these bands when they're not even the real deal. So, as we all know, there's music lovers and there's music consumers, right?
Right.
Music lovers know the 5th track on Led Zeppelin 3. They know the second song on Dark Side of the Moon or the deep cuts for all these bands. Music consumers are just kind of like, they cheer at all the popular songs that they know because they heard it on the radio or saw the video. They really don't have any depth to anything of substance in music. Every time you play them an artist that is not on the radio or that they've never heard before, they pay no attention to it. And then the moment it becomes popular, all of a sudden they're all into it. Mm-hmm. Is that the AI generated crowd? Is that people who are going to be like, yes, and have the drool coming out of their mouth onto their t-shirts because they're basically sheep? Is that who they are?
Well, and also 12 to 18-year-olds, all those tweens. If you have a bank sponsoring a concert and it's by a leading songwriter who has an AI songwriter and they go on tour, the bank's in to make money. So they're going to market to that age group. That's the number one consumer. And they're not as picky as people who are music lovers or music, live music lovers. They're 8 to 12-year-old kids don't give a shit. And, they're not going to know whether it's a live band or it's an AI. They're not going to understand any of that. But if it sells tickets and gets, butts in seats and it's profitable, they just might like it a whole lot. It's going to be packaged and sold to them.
Does the cover band audience member realize how close they are to being an AI music lover? Because essentially you're watching people perform songs that are not theirs, paying money for it, nodding your head, and drooling. I always like to put in the drooling.
Yeah, that crowd, I think that crowd would adapt it. I don't know if they'd go.
They'll adapt to it. They'll accept it. They're the ones.
I think on Spotify. I'm not sure if they'll go live because they like to see their cover bands like, Which Way's Pink and things like that. Led Zeppelin's playing this month at the Coach House. And so they sell out 2 nights. They book two, 3 nights for the big cover bands. But they might be really accepting of music that is AI derivative or written on a Spotify playlist. You know,
but like you said in the beginning of this conversation, the AI generated holograms, right? Or whatever.
Yeah.
They'll go see that. The cover band crowd will go see that.
Yeah, they go see that. I think they already have. I think that, haven't they? I think that's already happened to some extent. But yeah, no, I mean, we'll see. You know, I mean, I can't predict. I can predict that I think people are going to think they're going to make money off of AI music and they're going to push it, right? And they're going to market and sell it to anybody they can. I don't know if the U.S. consumer is either not going to care or they're going to reject it. There has been pushback on it. Yeah. So I think that we have to wait and see on that one, you know. But I can tell you one thing that it was a colossal failure. Remember NFTs?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Here's an update on NFTs just to switch off of that for a second here. Even the vast majority of NFT collections from established creators that originally sold for hundreds of thousands of dollars are effectively worthless. Effectively worthless. Wow. 18% of these top collections now have a floor price of $0, and 41% are priced between $50 and $100. Less than 1% of these NFTs are priced over $6,000.
Why did that market bottom out?
So they were worthless investments to begin with, I think was what everybody concluded. That like it was just really stupid. There was, they would estimate, let's see. They said that a few of them are going to be successful in the long run, like, you know, I guess that Cat one and what have you, but it was just everybody buying into the market and it was the hype. And there was no due diligence. There wasn't any regulation in it. Not that I'm a proponent for regulation, but it just went hog wild. And everybody bought and they're holding, and 2 years later, it's worthless. So that's, you know, the rise and fall of the NFT. A lot of people were hopeful, like Open Seas or Yellow Seas, that it would be really helpful for bands to use as a revenue source, you know, selling NFTs and releasing NFTs as albums and what have you. But turns out 2 years later, the market just turned away from it.
I think it was also a product of the pandemic too. A lot of people sitting around and trying to figure out what to do with themselves. And I think that hype kind of kept stumbling and tumbling and stumbling and tumbling into more than it really was, because people are reading about this and getting all hyped about it because they needed something to do.
Yeah. And it is, you know, digital art, right? So, and it's basically been deemed worthless now. So, and it was all lived in a digital space, and you kept your original digital on a cloud, on a blockchain and what have you. So, it seems to me like that's been just wholeheartedly rejected. If it's worth $0 now. So, you know, to go from billions of dollars to $0 in 2 years is quite a stumble.
Does it have anything to do with the crypto market being so volatile?
Well, it could have, you know, they don't go into deep detail. I think people want to move away from the NFT as quickly as possible. But the crypto market has been really volatile. Well, one of the things is, you know, the federal government wants to have everybody use their own digital currency. And they probably ultimately want to get away with, to eliminate all, you know, Ethereum and crypto and Bitcoin and all that, because they want to have their own. So it could have something to do with that. There is a real struggle going on right now, and we'll see. Well, I think so far the federal government, the Federal Reserve, is going to issue its own digital currency.
I mean, it makes sense. I mean, you need. Yeah. I know you're not a proponent for regulation, but no. Money does. Money does need to be regulated.
Yeah. So I think that might have, you know, crypto might have gone a little bit crazy. It has been really volatile.
Right.
And I guess the fallout is the NFTs, fungible tokens just bit the dust, So I guess artificial intelligence is next, and we'll see what happens with that.
I think artificial intelligence is going to be around for a while. I don't see that in the dust, but NFT is kind of like the LA Gear gym shoe of the 80s.
Yeah. Right? I don't know if I see people fully embracing. I don't know if I see people fully embracing it, though. I mean, I think ChatGPT lost a ton of subscribers after that first month, and people are kind of like, oh yeah, it's useful. I ask it for directions and stuff. And I'm like, well, you can do that with the search engine, right? Or map app.
I think it will be slow moving. I don't think it's going to be as fast as people think it is. I think that the dawn of AI is here, and it is building and building each day. I think it's going to be, I don't think it's going to be, I mean, we see it we've seen AI for years already, right? We've seen it with bots, and we've seen it with responses to inquiries on, for customer service with these large corporations. That's all AI,
Yeah.
And it'll keep perfecting, and it'll keep happening. But I think at some point the government will step in and start to regulate this, because it always takes the government a while to catch up to the wild, wild west, when something happens.
Oh, yeah,
and you do need to regulate AI. You do. And for people that don't like any regulation, it can get out of hand. It can get out of hand very fast. Same thing with like this digital currency. When you have digital currency, basically started on the black market, right? I mean, it's basically started by the mob. Whatever mob you want to, Jews, mob, whatever Chinese mob.
Yeah.
So it has an undercurrent of bad people, right?
Yeah.
And you need to regulate that when it comes to money and stuff like that, and people swindling or, bribing people or doing criminal things with that. You got to be able to track that stuff. So I get it, but I think AI is here to stay. I think it's not going to be as fast as people think. I think in some areas it will. I think recruiting jobs, the field that you were in, it's going to cut down on a lot of people in jobs, because you're going to have an algorithm that determines whether a person is qualified. And then you're going to have like these AI generated interviews that you answer, and then they're going to determine. Eventually, they're going to meet the hiring manager. The hiring manager isn't AI generated, but it's going to cut. It's going to cut out a lot of jobs that are kind of like administrative jobs. It's a lot of jobs that were created, had that human element. I mean, we see it. It's just the evolution of people and evolution of time. So. Yeah,
well, I
don't see that going away.
Well, the Writers Guild of America has been on strike. I'm not sure where they're at right now, but one of their did they solve it? One of their things was they're really not cool with their jobs being taken away by AI, and they wanted some job security. So we'll see what happens. And I think that's happening over at Bandcamp too. I think they're really concerned. I think they have unionized, and I think their union is very concerned about them being bought by another company. And I don't know where that's going, but I think lawyers are involved at this point. So they want to make sure that they have, proper notification of severance and severance pay and all those kind of things. So as they go through another buyout. So, I think people are pushing back where they can, and I'm really hopeful that people are going to just reject, AI and going to see and pay for AI music, but I think there's going to just be a certain amount of AI that's just going to coexist with just about everything. So,
yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Anything else?
I have one more update on Veeps on streaming. Veeps, which did go into partnership into 2021 with Live Nation, they are going to have an $11.99 a month Veeps All Access service. It's going to be live streaming, and it's going to have on-demand content and concerts, etc. So I think it took 2 years to build out all their clubs across the U.S. Now they're ready to go, and they're rolling it out for $12 a month, which is not too bad. Is SoundCloud still viable? They've had a new CEO. He's been there about 6 months, and I'll wait and see how it goes in a year. But they have about 175 million users, and they have 76 million paid users or account holders. Mm-hmm. So I think they're trudging right along. They haven't gone away. They're still there, still a good option. And Spotify has patented a digital mixtape generator that compiles users' voice recordings with songs. So I guess you can record yourself and then mix it into a song. Yeah, there you go. So brought to you by Spotify.
Yeah.
And that
making
is
any money though. They're not making any money.
Exactly.
Not a cent. They're in the red. They're in the red.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Poor Daniel Elk. I really feel for him. Mm-hmm. He's in poverty stricken. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, seriously, get that guy in.
Yeah. Somebody call 911. So that's pretty much the update right now. I'm sure something changed while we were recording this, and I'll find out later, but that's how fast things are going.
This is the most fascinating series that we do on the Hook Rocks, because every 3 months there's so much change. There's so much to keep up with. It's just fascinating. It really is. It really is.
Yeah.
And learning about how the business of music really works and the greed that's been involved, and it's always been involved. And, it's just, again, the lesson today, folks, is watch what they do, not what they say.
Exactly.
And that will lead you to the road of truth, because they say a lot of things and they get you to believe a lot of things, but the evidence says otherwise, and the actions say otherwise.
Exactly. So, follow the facts.
Yep. Kristi, as always, it's been a pleasure. It's been awesome.
Thanks, Jay. It's great to be back, and happy fall, and happy, let's see, now you're a single bachelor empty nester. Is that what's going on?
Yeah. I mean, he'll be back for the holidays and stuff. And
okay.
Well, not full empty nester, but yeah, the house is very quiet.
Aw.
So there's no raging guitar coming from the bedroom anymore.
Oh no. Well, he'll be back
soon. Get annoyed,
then.
But now I'm like, man, I miss that,
Yeah.
So, but
all right.
Thanks again.
Okay. All right. Talk to you later. Bye.
Go check out the previous episodes with Kristi. Always a great job. Always a great conversation. Thanks again for tuning in, everyone. I do appreciate it. Stay safe. Take care of each other. We will talk soon. Thank you.
Yeah, the clock on the wall has been skipping, but you don't notice the beat till the missing. Well, little do you know, baby, I'm getting up on a getaway. It's the season of the renegade, renegade, renegade.
Hey, this is Eric Hutchinson. I've joined the Pantheon Podcast family, and I hope you'll come check out my new podcast, Songversations with Eric Hutchinson. Each week, we find out what music matters most to the people who define our cultures. I interview famous guests like actors, musicians, comedians, politicians, and everyone in between. We listen to music together, and we talk about the soundtrack of our lives. It's funny, insightful, revealing, and it's a great way to discover new music. So come check me out, Songversations with Eric Hutchinson, wherever you get your podcasts.